नमस्कार सर।
दादा नमस्कार। दादा लास्ट टाइम आप नहीं थे, हम लोगों ने बैटल ऑफ हल्दी घाटी को कवर किया था।
जी जी जी।
तो बैटल ऑफ हल्दी घाटी में तो एज पर हिरन में इट वाज अ ड्रॉ, बट हम लोगों ने मतलब रत्नू साहब की किताब के हिसाब से प्रूव किया था कि इट वाज नॉट डिफीट ऑफ महाराणा एंड नीदर इट वाज विक्ट्री फॉर अकबर। तो दूसरी बात ये थी कि महाराणा प्रताप ने जब हल्दी घाटी की लड़ाई पूरी खत्म हो गई थी, उसके बाद में वहां के जो गांव थे जहां पर जमींदार लोग थे, वहां पर उन्होंने अपने सिक्के भी बांटे थे और वहां पर रेवेन्यू रिकॉर्ड में भी उन्होंने अपना नाम जलाया था। दैट मींस कि हल्दी घाटी के जो आसपास के गांव थे वो महाराणा प्रताप के कब्जे में।
जी जी बिल्कुल।
और मैंने शायद इन्होंने तो बताया कि इट वाज काइंडनेस ऑफ महाराणा प्रताप। और आप सोच लो लॉन्ग टर्म स्ट्रेटजी रही होगी कि उन्होंने मान सिंह को नहीं मारा, अदरवाइज मान सिंह को चाहते तो मार सकते थे, बट उनके दिमाग में ये था कि अगर मान सिंह को मार देंगे तो जयपुर से परमानेंट अमेर से
हमेशा एक दुश्मनी हो जाएगी। जी जी। तो हो सकता है कुछ राजपूत तो और लोग भी मतलब गुस्से हो जाए, भड़क जाए। तो
और ये कहना गलत है कि हल्दी घाटी में अकबर खुद आया था। अकबर नहीं आया था, एक झूठ फैलाया गया था अकबर की सेना के द्वारा कि हाँ भाई अकबर आ गया, अकबर आ गया, अकबर आ गया, बट वो आया नहीं था। लेकिन यह है कि जो अपना हल्दी घाटी की लड़ाई में महाराणा प्रताप के काफी जो सूरवीर थे, सेनानी मतलब सेनापति थे, वो मारे गए थे। उसमें से ग्वालियर के मतलब पूरा परिवार खत्म हो गया था उसमें, बाकी लोग भी हो गए थे और इनका चेतक भी वहां पर घायल हो गया था। बाद में ये चेतक से जो भागने थे वो लंगड़ा हो गया था। तो इनको शक्ति सिंह, इनका भाई, जिनके साथ में इनके बचपन में झगड़ा हुआ था किसी शिकार के चक्कर में, और वो अकबर के कैंप में जाके शामिल हो गए थे, वहां से शक्ति सिंह ने फिर वहां पर जाकर उनको बचाया था और अपना घोड़ा दिया था कि भाई ठीक है, इस घोड़े में जाके जाओ। मतलब this battle also proved that blood is always thicker than water.
Definitely.
खून अपना ही खून होता है, वो ठीक है आपस में झगड़ा होता है, लेकिन जब दूसरी चीजें होती हैं, और हल्दी घाटी की लड़ाई से हमारे को प्रूव हो जाता है कि अगर महाराणा प्रताप ने हल्दी घाटी की लड़ाई में मतलब अगर डिफीट कर दी ले ली होती तो आज की डेट में सारा का सारा मतलब राजपूताना और पूरा हिंदुस्तान जो है वो मुस्लिम होता था। चित्तौड़ में हमने देखा कि थर्ड सका में क्या हुआ था, 8,000 फौजी थे, उनको पूरा कत्ल कर दिया था, 40,000 लोगों को मार दिया था, जितनी भी मतलब वहां की जो महिलाएं थी और जो 12 साल से छोटे बच्चे थे उनको सबने जौहर करके अपने आप को खत्म कर दिया था, क्योंकि उनको किसी भी आक्रांताओं के हाथ में नहीं पड़ना था। सबको मालूम था कि क्या हो रहा है क्या नहीं। तो आज हम जा रहे हैं इसमें बैटल ऑफ देवायर। ये डिसिसिव बैटल है जिसको कि महाराणा प्रताप ने जीता था। During his lifetime he could not win चित्तौड़, बट सारे का सारा जितना भी अकबर ने इधर उधर कब्जा किया था सबको उन्होंने पूरा इकट्ठा कर लिया था। और इसमें इनका सबसे बड़ा जो साथ दिया था वो भामा शाह ने दिया था और मालवा के ताराचंद ने दिया था। तो लेटेस्ट स्टार्ट, थोड़ा पढ़ते हैं। आप पैरा पढ़िए, फिर मैं थोड़ा सा हिंदी में समझाना हो तो।
जी। तो बैटल ऑफ देवायर, द मैराथन ऑफ मेवाड़। 7 years of preparation for a showdown with the Mughals reached its culmination when Maharana Pratap walked towards Thana of Dewair with approximately 15,000 troops to kick off a campaign to vacate 84 Thanas of the Mughals, littering Mewar, to regain every inch of his land in the shortest possible time.
7 साल के बाद में हल्दी घाटी की लड़ाई के 7 साल के बाद राणा प्रताप ने 15,000 सैनिकों के साथ में उस इलाके में कब्जा करने के लिए कूच किया जहां पर मुगल लोग 24 थानों में मुगल लोग थे और
84 थाने
पूरा रिगेन करना है, उसको वापस लेना है उनसे। शॉर्टेस्ट पॉसिबल टाइम
84 थाने से थे सर, देवर के अंडर में 84
था, 24 नहीं 84।
ताकि वो अपना हर एक इंच अपना जमीन जितने कम समय में संभव हो वापस ले सके। तो अब भामा शाह and Tarachand in Malwa. Immediately after Haldi Ghati, Pratap dispatched Bhama Shah and Tarachand to neighboring Malwa as his vassals. On the eastern side of Mewar, Malwa was a vital conduit on the trade route from Delhi and Agra to the Gujarat seaports. Mama Shah was instructed by
मालवा ऐसी जगह थी जहां से ये लोग अपना ट्रेड रूट था उनका, आगरा से गुजरात के सी पोर्ट तक ले जाया करते, दिल्ली से ले जाया करते थे, तो मालवा को अपने साथ में मिलाना जरूरी था, इसीलिए भामा शाह को भेजा गया।
बिल्कुल। Mama Shah was instructed by Pratap to loot Mughal caravans freely and amass as much wealth as he could. Akbar was using the sea route to send huge amounts of gold and wealth of Hindustan to Turkey and Arabia. ये भी सबको जानना जरूरी है सर, ये जगह अकबर was using the sea route.
को दिया था प्रताप ने कि जो जितने मुगल कारवां जो जा रहे हैं उनको सबको लूट लो और जितना भी धन दौलत इकट्ठा कर लो, और अकबर उस जमाने में टर्की और अरेबिया में गोल्ड और जो इंडिया का वेल्थ है वो गोल्ड टर्की और अरेबिया को सी रूट से भेजता था।
जी, तो ये कितने लोगों को पता है? नहीं पता है लोगों को ये चीज। For Akbar and other Islamic invaders, Hindustan was a part of the Islamic Caliphate, and hence areas under Islamic occupation were tributaries of the global Islamic empire.
अकबर भी समझता था कि ये इस्लामिक जो हमारा यहाँ पर हिंदुस्तान में राज हो रखा है वो पार्ट एंड पार्सल ऑफ खलीफत का ही है, खलीफा का ये हम लोग हिस्सा है, और उनको हमारे को अपनी तरफ से ट्रिब्यूट देना,
नजराना ट्रिब्यूट जो भी कहिए। जी जी जी। M.A. Khan in his book Jihad, A Legacy of Forced Conversions, Imperialism and Slavery writes, money and resources extracted from the sweat and toil of non-Muslim subjects of India used to be siphoned to the treasuries of the Islamic Caliphate in Damascus, Baghdad, Cairo, or Tashkent, to the Islamic holy cities of Mecca and Medina, and to the pockets of Muslim holy men throughout the Islamic world. At the same time, though, the infidels of India were being reduced to awful misery. यहाँ तो साफ साफ बताया गया, देखिए पूरा ट्रेजरी साइफन ऑफ करके कहाँ खिलाफत का जो जगह है, दमास्कस, बगदाद, कैरो, ताशकंद, फिर मक्का, मदीना और जगह जो पॉकेट्स, मतलब इस्लाम के
जो भी इस्लामिक सेक्टर थे उस समय, वहां पे सब हमारे यहाँ से हमारे जो खून पसीने की कमाई है उसको ये लोग वहां पे भेजते थे, और हमारे जो सनातन धर्म वाले फॉलो करने वाले थे, जो काफिर जिनको ये बोला करते थे, उनको मतलब बुरी हालत में रख दिया था जी, reduced to awful misery.
This should expose the hollow claims of leftists that the Mughal rule over Bharat was just and benevolent, or an era of economic progress. Mughals destroyed the Hindu economy to fund the Islamic lands far away. ये तो हम लोग बता चुके हैं, लोग समझ भी गए. Shortly after killing Ibrahim Lodi at the first battle of Panipat in Christian era 1526, Babur took the keys to the imperial treasury at Agra. He writes in his autobiography, Baburnama, suitable money, gifts were bestowed from the treasury to the whole army, to every tribe. There was Afghans, Hazara, Arab, Baloch, etc., according to his position. Every trader and student, indeed every man who had come with the army, took ample portion and share of bounteous gifts and largesse. And indeed, to the whole various train of relations and younger children went masses of red and white, gold and silver, of planishing jewels and slaves.
Wow.
मतलब किसी जितने इस्लामिस्ट थे, जितना उनका मतलब ट्राइब्स हैं, अफगान, हजारा, अरब, बलूच, और कोई भी पोजीशन का, अकॉर्डिंग टू पोजीशन, हर एक व्यवसायी, विद्यार्थी,
ये लो भाई सेना में से लूट के हम तुम्हारे को दे रहे हैं, आराम से मजे करो, है ना?
हाँ, सेना में जितने लोग, सबको मतलब जो है, छोटे बच्चे को भी, रिलेशंस भी थे, छोटे बच्चे भी, सबको भेजा गया, सोना चांदी जितना था, जवाहरात जो भी था, मतलब सारा. In contrast to the Hindu kings who taxed the farmers a mere 16% of their total production, Mughal tax rate was 30 to 50% plus some additional cesses. The Hindu Raja 16% total production.
क्या बचेगा किसानों के पास में फिर?
नहीं, हिंदू राजा लोग 16% टैक्स करते थे, ये 40-50% पूरा लगा दिए. Bhania writes about the tax system of Aurangzeb. It is a tyranny, often so excessive as to deprive the peasant and
The artisan of the necessity of life.
peasant and the artisan. मेन तो वही लोग थे उस समय जो खेती करते थे, वो लोग बेचारे किसान और कारीगर. वहीं से तो पैसा जनरेट होता था. मतलब खेती नहीं होगी तो लोग खाएंगे
एक
क्या?
वीडियो देख रहा था तमिलनाडु में, ये लोग जो अपना राजस्थान के लोग बाग हैं और महाराष्ट्र के लोग बाग जाके वहां पर गणेश
हाँ, गणपति बना रहे थे.
हाँ, उनको सबको बंद कर दिया, बोला नहीं ये तुम.
लेकिन हाई कोर्ट ऑर्डर दे दिया सर, लेकिन काफी लेट हो गया. मतलब ऑर्डर इम्प्लीमेंटेशन करने में टाइम लग गया. हाई कोर्ट बोला कि किसी भी चीज का वो बनाए, हाँ, लेकिन इट शुड नॉट बी इमर्स्ड इन द रिवर. इतना बोल दिया हाई कोर्ट, बोल दिया ताला खोल दीजिए सब और मूर्ति बाहर कर.
But that shows the intention of Tamil Nadu government, na, that how much hatred they have got towards
by
our
some
festival.
dispose of the idols by some other means. ये मद्रास हाई कोर्ट का मतलब जजमेंट एक आया है, but it's a bit late. Thus, while the Mughal elite and their courtiers splurged the money in mindless indulgence, the land of Hindus was being impoverished by a gang of thieves and murderers. अब एक बहुत important चीज है, Akbar also funded the Hajj pilgrimage by state money. During the Mughal era, on an average,
Same thing was continued by Jawaharlal Nehru also, na?
हाँ, during the Mughal era, on an average, 15,000 pilgrims visited Mecca to perform Hajj every year. This religious sponsorship began after Akbar conquered Gujarat in Christian era 1573 and Mughals got access to the port of Surat. In 1576, a Mughal Hajj caravan left Agra with its party of sponsored pilgrims and a massive donation of 6 lakh rupees. In 1577, a caravan left with double this amount of money.
Wow.
अब जो लोग बोलते हैं कि अकबर यहाँ ये किया वो कि इतने पैसे भेजे गए, सब इसके बारे में कोई कुछ बोलता ही नहीं है. Mewar troops under the fierce leadership of Mama Shah and Tarachand attacked these caravans and robbed them. There was no way Akbar could have defended these caravans from the attacks of Mewar, since the time and place of attack was always chosen by the Mewar troops, and they would escape with the looted wealth before the Mughals could even respond. This unique way of generating wealth to fund his army shows the great acumen of Pratap in attacking the weak spot of Mughals. सही में एकदम. In a period of approximately 5 years, Mama Shah and Tarachand amassed 2.5 million in local currency and 20,000 gold coins and presented themselves to Pratap with that money.
अब हमारे लेफ्ट लिबरल क्या बोलेंगे कि ये तो डकैत थे, चोर थे, जो रास्ते में जो कारवां लूटते रहते थे उनके, इस तरीके से बोल देंगे.
नहीं तो उसका उल्टा तर्क है ना. आप हमारा मतलब देश का खजाना आप तो लूट कर ही भेज रहे हो ना. जबरदस्ती टैक्स लगाकर आप कलेक्ट करके भेज रहे हो. देश में तो खर्चा हो नहीं रहा है, देश के बाहर दूसरे जगह भेज रहे हो आप, इस्लामिक स्टेट्स में. हमको क्या फायदा हो रहा है उसमें? तो हम लूटेंगे नहीं, फिर हमारा खजाना हम ही रखेंगे. फिर कैन द हिंदू समाज एवर बी फ्री ऑफ द डेट ऑफ दीज टू ग्रेट सन्स ऑफ मेवाड़? What was the mettle of these two brothers? Master strategists, fierce warriors, unflinching loyalty and honesty, and such dedication to Pratap. Without doubt, it was the great fortune of Pratap to have such trusted friends as lieutenants in this war. Without Bhama Shah and Tarachand, Pratap would have been reduced to merely being a brave rebel. After Haldighati, Akbar sent one of his ablest generals, Shahbaz Khan, to capture Pratap. Shahbaz chose to attack Kumbhalgarh, and for 1 year, Pratap fought him. In Christian era 1578, Pratap had to escape from Kumbhalgarh and take refuge in the hills of Abu. It was around Christian era 1580 to 81 that Bhama Shah came to Pratap with the money. According to Veer Vinod, Bhama Shah came with enough funds to pay the salaries of an army of 25,000 infantry and 5,000 cavalry for a period of 12 years. Besides
Wow.
arranging for funds, Pratap kept fighting the Mughals at various places to keep crucial passes and thanas under his control. Two significant battles that need mention are being narrated below. Battle of Mohi. Humiliated by his loss in the Battle of Haldighati, Akbar was furious. He himself invaded Mewar in November 1576 and snatched Gogunda from Pratap. He loitered around for a few days in Mewar in search of Pratap, but after a few unsuccessful attempts, he went back to Agra. Before leaving, Akbar seized some important posts of Mewar from Pratap. पोस्ट मतलब वो थाना जैसे मतलब किले का ये जो मतलब जहां से निगरानी रखी जाती है
चौकियां चौकियां चौकियां
चौकियां चौकियां जी जी I stand corrected sir. In the month of May 1577, the moment Akbar set his course for Agra, Pratap started invading and seizing those important posts back to back. Akbar had named Udaipur as Muhammadabad and started his own coins there. Akbar fought and won Udaipur back and revived Udaipur's name from Muhammadabad to Udaipur and also melted all the Mughal coins. After getting Udaipur and Gogunda back from the Mughals, Pratap wanted to win the significant post of Mohi. Situated in Rajsamand district, Mohi was a vital post held by the brave Bhati Rajputs. A Mughal commander, Mujahid Beg, forced peasants and farmers to work and arrange the ration for his forces. Pratap knew that if this continued, Mughals will be entrenched comfortably. If the Mughal army was successful in feeding itself from Mewar, they would end up winning every inch of Mewar in no time. Pratap sent a message to the Bhati Rajputs in September 1577 and asked them to be ready for the attack. Allied forces of Mewar and Bhatis destroyed all the farms and cornfields. Mujahid Beg had 3,000 horsemen and pawns too. Pawns matlab paidal sipai. Mujahid's force and allied Hindu forces fought a fierce battle wherein Mujahid died with hundreds of his soldiers. Mohi was now in the grip of Pratap, and the rest of the Mughal posts were again forced to depend on Ajmer for their reinforcements and food, etc. Abul Fazl writes in Akbarnama, Rana started destroying fields in his attack on Mohi. At this time, Prince Man Singh Kachawa of Amer moved his forces to the hilly areas of Mewar. Mujahid Beg got to know of this and he rushed with his forces towards the fields, but sans his artillery and weapons. Sans means without, minus his artillery and weapons. He fought bravely and died like a valiant soldier. Once again, it is observable how Man Singh overlooked Pratap's attack and helped Hindu resistance by his silence. मतलब मान सिंह भी मदद किया है अंदर अंदर
करता ही था ना. अब ये क्यों करेगा? प्रिंस मान सिंह कछवाहा अमेर मूव्ड हिज फोर्सेस टू द हिली एरियाज ऑफ मेवाड़ और उसको बोला तू जा उधर की तरफ को बिना फौज के.
नहीं, ये चालाकी भी था. देखिए, मान सिंह जाएंगे तो इसको जलन होगा ना. मुजाहिद भाई फिर तुरंत इनके पहुंचने के पहले वो अपना दौड़ने लगे. विदाउट आर्टिलरी एंड वेपन्स तो हारना ही था फिर तो. देखिए, जलन भी है कितना आपस में. बैटल ऑफ बंसवाड़ा. On learning that the Rawals of Banswara and Dungarpur accepted suzerainty of Akbar, Pratap sent Rawat Bhan Sarang Dev to subdue them in October, Christian era 1578. Since both these states bordered Mewar, it was necessary for Pratap to bring them under control. A fierce battle was fought on the banks of Som River, where the combined armies of both the states were defeated by Rawat Bhan. Rawat Bhan was severely wounded in the battle, but emerged victorious. An uncle of Rawat Bhan, Ran Singh, was immortalized in this battle, matlab Veergati ko prapt hue, by his valor and sacrifice of his life for Mewar. On the death of Dungarpur Rawal Askaran, his son Shastramal was installed by Pratap. Shastramal was already supporting Pratap. Ugrasen was put in charge of Banswara. Both the rulers were ardent supporters of Pratap, and thus the southwest borders of Mewar were secured. Fighting skirmishes and battles all around Mewar, Pratap was amassing weapons and personnel for a frontal assault on Mughals. He wanted to strike with maximum force instead of fighting in patches. Pratap planned to sweep Mewar in entirety within the shortest time and slay as many Mughal forces as he possibly could, thus striking fear into the Mughal Thanedars and giving them no time to regroup or offer resistance to the Mewar's army. Flush with money and resources provided by his own wealth hidden in the Maharana mines and huge funds provided by Bhama Shah and Tarachand, Pratap amassed a huge army and was assisted by the kingdoms of Siroi, Idar, Dungarpur and Banswara. A large contingent of the Solankis and Chauhans from the surrounding areas and Shaktavats under Pratap's brother Shakti Singh were organized to fight from Mewar's side. अच्छा ये नाम ही है उनके भाई के नाम से शक्तवत्स.
शक्ति सिंह वापस आ गए. ओके 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 अच्छा
भाई जी जी. Amar Singh, Pratap's eldest son, had grown up to be a fine young man with an excellent warrior with his sword and spear alike. Amar Singh led one flank of the Mewar army and was the main strategist as well. Bhama Shah and Tarachand were given charge of one flank, and the Bheels were, as usual, placed on surrounding trees. Since very patchy details of this war are available to us, the estimates for Pratap's army vary from as high as 25,000 men on foot and 5,000 on cavalry to as little as a total army of 5,000. But given the money Pratap had in 1582 and the support of most of the nobles of Mewar, along with the supporting kingdoms, it can be said without doubt that this army exceeded 10,000 on the side of Mewar, and this was a fight for Pratap to win, as he had brought all his finest warriors to this war. On the Mughal side, Sarima Khan Sultan, who oversaw Dewair Thana, had 2,000 men under his command, and at least one elephant on his side, along with a few dozen cavalry. Sarima was a spiritually inclined person and was a distant relative of Akbar himself, probably an uncle. Sarima believed in Hindu customs and rituals and was tolerant towards Hindus in his area of influence. An incident that stresses Sarima's tilt to Hinduism is that when he was injured by Amar Singh's spear, he asked for Ganga Jal on his deathbed. This account has been narrated by various authors. Rana Pratap himself served Ganga Jal to the dying Mughal. Sarima had prior intelligence about Pratap's impending attack, and he summoned more troops from 14 neighboring Mughal thanas. Shamdas writes in his Veer Vinod that the usual number of troops in each Mughal thana was approximately 1,000. Thus, it can be safely assumed that at least 15,000 Mughal troops were involved in the Battle of Dewair. If we compare the sheer number of troops, the choice of Dewair as the point of contact by Pratap, and the involvement of almost all major warriors of Mewar in the Battle of Dewair provides ample evidence for us to conclude that this was the decisive battle between a cornered Pratap and a well-entrenched Mughal besiegement of Mewar. The Maharana chose the time and place where he would be equipped not only with the element of surprise, but the advantage of terrain. Pratap had nothing but a ruthless slaughter in his mind when he was planning the campaign of Dewair. The lull of 7 years after Haldi Ghati was to be shattered by an all-out offensive by Pratap. Only the closest Samants and trusted generals of Pratap knew what was being planned. The writer chooses to call this campaign of Dewair for the simple reason that within days of the victory at Dewair, 36 thanas of Mewar were conquered by splitting the army into two parts, one led by Pratap and the other led by son Amar Singh. After winning Dewair, Amar Singh led half of his troops eastwards to Amet and slew everyone who stood for the Mughals. Pratap meanwhile turned westwards and regained Kumbhalgarh and Udaipur. Now let us attempt to draw a picture of the actual Battle of Dewair based on various accounts available. The strategy of Mewar. The war council met somewhere 10 kilometers around the southeast of the valley of Dewair. Those who attended besides Pratap were Amar Singh, Bhama Shah, Tarachand Shah, Shakti Singh, Bhil King, Rana Punja, Rawat Krishan Das, Gopal Das Medtia, and whole clan of Shakti Singh's sons, the Shaktavats. It was unequivocally decided that the Mewar army would not venture into the plains north of Dewair and instead engage the Mughals towards the south of Dewair opening in the hills. The mistake of fighting in the open, like at Haldighati, was not to be repeated at any cost. A few hundred soldiers were to mingle with the local population and get close to the Thana without getting noticed. Pratap, Bhamasha, and all generals were to stay in the base of the valley in the center, and the Bhils would attack from the trees atop the mountains with arrows and stones using Gofan. Amar Singh was to encircle the village and wait at the northern end of the valley to cut off any attempt by Mughals to escape to the plains. The battle. Armed with a well-equipped army, adequately paid and trained in mountain warfare, with trusted generals and aides like Amar Singh, Shakti Singh, Bhama Shah, Tara Shah, Rawat Kishan Das, and various nobles of Mewar leading their contingents, and courageous Bhils ready to climb trees and attack the Mughals from heights. Maharana Pratap Singh set out on the final military mission of his life, in which he had resolved to destroy every Thana and a local unit of Mughals occupying Mewar. Pratap was free of the moral baggage of fighting and killing his own Rajput brothers, unlike at Haldighati. Akbar had placed only his trusted Muslim lieutenants guarding the Thanas of Mewar because he didn't trust the Rajputs of Jaipur or Jodhpur to man the outposts of another Rajput kingdom of Mewar. He knew that the Hindu camaraderie would find its feet anytime if the Mewar Rajputs were to be guarded by fellow Rajputs from other regions. This was of tremendous advantage to a hardcore Sanatani like Pratap, as his sword would not hesitate in slaughtering well-defined enemies of Hinduism and his beloved state of Mewar, which had been fighting the marauders of the Arabian desert for 800 years. The shrieks of women and children committing Johar on 25th of February 1568 at Chittor fueled Pratap's agonized soul on that day when he set out to avenge the murder of his people at the hands of Mughals. The fallen friends like Jamal and Patta and Tanwars of Gwalior, Dhyalas of Sadri, Bhim Singh of Dodia would come alive on that day to prod Pratap to seek revenge on their behalf from Turk invaders squatting on the pious land of Mewar. The Purvajas of Mewar dynasty would shower blessings upon Pratap on that glorious day as Pratap rose from the ashes of the plunder of Mewar to fulfill his promise to the glorious ancestors to evacuate Mewar of Vidharmis. Friends and relatives, subjects and servants, well-wishers and teachers would have raised chants of Har Har Mahadev to reverberate the skies of Mewar and convulse the very beings of Pratap's army to attempt a final assault on Turks occupying his motherland. All fear, concern, and anxiety for his own survival or his family's lives being carried on were dissolved at the altar of the singular pursuit of a victory at Dewair by Pratap. He went all in to this dice that fate had thrown with only slaughter engaging his mind. The hooves of the horses, the ranklings of the spears, the clatter of the swords, the rubbing of the shoulders of man and animal with each other, the glances of fortitude at each other, the cold resolve of the king of Mewar and his people, joined on Vijayadashmi, 16th of September 1583, to take shape as a mammoth Hindu beast ready to devour the Mlech who had been tormenting them for 800 years. At daybreak, Pratap's army attacked. Sorry.
Actually, we are late by 2 days. I planned this stream on 16th only, लेकिन वो मिस कर गया मैं, वो बीच में कुछ और आ गया ना इसलिए.
Yes, sir.
16 September 1583, 16th September 2023. कितना साल हो गया था? 15 साल, 750 साल,
हाँ हाँ
750 years.
हाँ 5 है ना, हाँ 750 years.
नहीं 650, 83 है सर.
अच्छा 83 है. अच्छा
हाँ 83.
हाँ हाँ 83 है. हम लोग 23. जी जी 83.
तो 640 ना,
माइनस कीजिए सर. 2023 माइनस 1583.
640 ना, 640 years.
चलिए that would be correct.
Say
But
come
that is
out Hindu beast ready to devour the militia who
at
had
the Hindu beast मतलब पूरा आर्मी को ही बता रहा. Mammoth Hindu beast was the entire army prepared by Pratap to devour, मतलब eat the mlech who had been tormenting them for 800 years. 800 साल तक जो mlech परेशान कर रहे थे सनातनियों को. तो ये बड़ा एक हिंदू बीस्ट वर्ड यूज नहीं करना चाहिए था. मैमथ बीस्ट मतलब डायनासोर की तरह मतलब खा गया पूरा इनको. At daybreak, Pratap's army attacked the Mughal army from 3 sides and started slaughtering the enemy mercilessly. Below are a few incidents from the war which need to be described in detail to understand what actually transpired on that glorious day at Dewair. The main general from the Mughal side was Sarima Khan Sultan.
अच्छा, पूरा उसका सिर फाड़ दिया.
हाँ हाँ. The main general from the Mughal side was Sarima Khan Sultan, who was leading the Mughal defense, sitting atop his war elephant. Pratap confronted Sarima and fierce spear fighting ensued, but using the advantage of height, Sarima ducked all attempts made at him by Pratap. Then a Padihar, Solanki Rajput, Padihar मतलब पैदल सैनिक ना. Padihar Solanki Rajput got between the forelegs of the elephant and chopped them both with his dagger. The animal stooped low, and at this moment, Pratap broke open the skull of the elephant. As the animal collapsed, Sarima jumped off it, and his assistants got him a horse to ride on. Sarima continued fighting and led his men on horseback, but soon Sarima and his men realized that they stood no chance of survival against the stones and arrows that were shot from treetops and decided to retreat northwards into open space. Sarima led the retreat only to be met by Amar Singh and his men waiting for them at the neck of the Dewair valley. The sons of Mewar started slaughtering the Mughals, who were sandwiched between Pratap's assault from the rear and Amar Singh's from the top. Death surrounded the Mughals from all sides. Amar Singh then took a long spear, hurled it at Sarima with such force that the spear perforated the body of Sarima, the hind part of the horse, and rested 6 inches deep into the earth below. This act of Amar Singh proves the legend around his muscular strength as someone who was about 7
feet tall
and नहीं बीच में कुछ आ गया था. Supposed to be blessed with great military skill as well as the temperament to use his strength and skills. We can only imagine the morale of the Turks on seeing the state of the commander, perforated by a spear along with the horse, rendered immobile in the midst of war by a single stroke of Amar Singh.
बॉडी पियर्स किया, हार्स का पूरा बॉडी पियर्स किया और फिर जमीन में
नीचे जमीन में नहीं. स्पीयर सर उस समय भारी होता था. जो हम लोग जैवलिन थ्रो ये सब जो करते हैं ना, वो हल्का मतलब है. इन लोगों का स्पीयर बहुत भारी होता था. मतलब उसके लिए बहुत काफी स्ट्रेंथ का जरूरत पड़ता था ना.
ये दिखा रहे हैं ना, यहाँ से यहाँ तक.
जी जी जी.
ये है ना, ये यहाँ से इसके बॉडी में लगा, इसके बाद ये जमीन पे गड़ गया,
नीचे चला गया पूरा. देखिए जमीन, ये पूंछ के पास दिख रहा है ना, जमीन के अंदर घुस गया है. देखिए ये देखिए. काफी जोर लगता था इसके लिए,
Please
तो
tell all these stories to the children. At least tell this story.
डेफिनेटली
At least अभी
डेफिनेटली
तक
सर।
मोदी साहब ने हमारी जो टेक्स्ट बुक है उसको चेंज नहीं किया। एटलीस्ट आप लोग तो बताओ कि क्या हुआ है।
और हम लोग जो रेफरेंस दे रहे हैं, देखिए मुगलों का और मतलब उनका ही रेफरेंस दे रहे हैं, हम किसी दूसरे का नहीं दे रहे हैं इसमें।
हाँ।
बुक में वही रेफरेंस सब दिया गया। Sarima was still alive and looked for help, but his troops had all scattered and only Mewar soldiers were around him. Sarima asked the soldiers as to who was the warrior that had put the spear through him. He said, I want to see him. Amar Singh looked at Pratap and Pratap nodded to him to come ahead. In the meanwhile, Mewar soldiers disarmed Sarima to avert a treacherous attack upon their prince. It is noted in various records of this incident that no soldier could extricate, अच्छा निकाल भी नहीं पाया, could extricate the spear out of the horse and the body of Sarima when Amar Singh came forward and with one hand disengaged the spear from the earth and the bodies of the man and his ride. मतलब horse, आदमी सरीमा और जमीन में जो स्पीयर घुसा हुआ था, कोई निकाल नहीं पा रहा था, वो खींच कर निकाल दिए वो
एक ही हाथ से।
अमर सिंह जी, एक ही हाथ से। Sarima is believed to have uttered these words. I am seeing a divine man resplendent with rays of light from the skies to earth. I am indeed fortunate to have been killed by the weapon of this Dev Purush. Then Sarima is believed to have asked for Ganga Jal, which Pratap himself served to him. Sarima is said to have breathed his last thereafter, and his body kept respectfully by the Mewar soldiers as instructed by Pratap. The battle in Dewair ended after this incident, with the Mughal army being completely routed. Every single Mughal soldier who was left fighting or attempting escape was chased and put to the sword without mercy. There were to be no prisoners at Dewair. By mid-noon, Dewair was taken by Pratap, and the saffron flag was planted over its thana. मतलब देवार थाना के ऊपर भगवा झंडा फिर से लहराने लगा।
ओके,
ये लहरा,
ये गंगा जल पिला रहे हैं क्या इनको? जी
जी जी, वो देखिए ना, वो आपका क्या बोलते हैं, लोटा जैसा है गंगा जल का, पिला रहे हैं उनको। अब वो मांगे थे नहीं मांगे थे अलग बात है, लेकिन गंगा जल तो पीना पड़ा उस समय। Dewair was won by sheer ferocity and by Pratap's strategy of overwhelming the Mughal forces in one day. Thus began the campaign to conclusively eradicate the Mughals from Mewar. Bahlol Khan, an Uzbek Mughal commander who was much feared by his enemies and was known for his brutality and fighting skill, was posted at the other end of the Devar valley that led to the fort of Kumbhalgarh. Without wasting time, Pratap gathered some soldiers and attacked the relatively small outpost. Maharana Pratap had an undimmed memory of the friends and relatives lost at the hands of the Uzbek at Haldighati and had personal scores to settle. It was in this encounter with Bahlol Khan at Dewair that history was written in metal and blood at the altar of retribution by the 43-year-old Maharana. Pratap attacked Bahlol Khan with such vengeance that before the Uzbek could even comprehend what was happening, the Rajput's sword had sliced the Uzbek from the head to his midriff. Pratap's mighty blade did not halt there. The sheer power of his blade coming down was such that even Bahlol's horse was sliced open from the middle. Hundreds of soldiers fighting on the side watched this spectacular sight in utter amazement and awe. It was as though all fury of Hindu retribution against jihadi sins was visited by Pratap in that single blow. The silent surrender of Maharani Padmini to the flames of Johar, the deceitful murder of Rana Ratan Singh, the treachery against Pratap's grandfather, Rana Sanga, at Khanwa, the slaughter of Hindus at the third Saka of Chittor, the decades of suffering of roaming in the Aravalis, the pain of losing friends and family at Haldighati, all converged at that singular point of conflict between Hindus and Muslims of the region. Pratap did not merely slay a Mughal general on that day, but sent a message to the whole world that this was the terrible form of Hindu fury would assume when it manifested out of the deep desire for freedom. Such Hindu fury is also entirely capable of unthinkable vengeance. Nowhere in the recorded history of mankind was such a battlefield feat ever been recorded. Sorry. Rana Pratap did not merely avenge Haldi Ghati that day, but cleaved open the entire edifice of deceit and cowardice that Akbar had so laboriously built to subjugate the Hindus. From that day in 1583 to the day of his moksha in January 1597, no warrior of any significance ever engaged Pratap in a one-to-one combat. लोग इतना डर गए थे. No wonder that after this day, Akbar kept pleading with his generals to invade Mewar, but none ventured to do so. Such was the intensity of the assault on the Mughals that day that 32 thanas all around Mewar were vacated overnight. मतलब भाग गए सारे छोड़कर. Putting Hindu vassals in charge of Dewair, the army was divided into two parts on the very same day that Dewair was captured. Amar Singh took half of the army to the east, and fugitives of Dewair were chased up to Amet.
And fugitive.
And fugitives of Dewair, जो भाग रहे थे, were chased up to Amet and put to the Rajput sword. The garrison at Amet was cut to pieces by Amar Singh. Pratap turned westwards and reached Kumbhalgarh. The Mughal troops deserted the posts there, and Pratap entered Kumbhalgarh after slaughtering a few hundred who chose to resist. Shahbaz Khan, the Mughal general, had taken Kumbhalgarh from Pratap in 1578. Pratap regained it in merely 5 years. These 5 years were the only ones when Kumbhalgarh had been out of the hands of Hindus. Pratap must go down in history as one of the bravest and most determined warrior kings to have lost and regained such a critical fort from the so-called mighty Mughal empire. A powerful Mughal general, Abdullah, was then confronted by Pratap and killed by his army. The Thana of Hamirsar near Kumbhalgarh was similarly overrun. After this, Pratap marched to the southern Ovro village and retook the Javra mines of silver and tin. This takeover was critical to empower Mewar economically. All 32 thanas encircling Mewar were attacked and troops put to death mercilessly. To use the words of Mewar annals, Pratap made a desert of Mewar. He made an offering to the sword of whatever dwelt in its plains. This was an appalling but indispensable sacrifice by Pratap for his motherland. In one short campaign, Pratap and Amar Singh had recovered all of Mewar except Chittor. Encircling Mewar from either side, Pratap and Amar Singh entered Udaipur to find it vacated by the Mughals. Such was the impact of Pratap's campaign that a city as critical as Udaipur was deserted by the Mughals without a single skirmish and was regained effortlessly. The Battle of Dewair and the subsequent campaign to regain Mewar established Maharana Pratap Singh of Mewar as the unquestioned Hindu leader of the region against Akbar's occupation. A lot of details and records of this victory of Pratap have been overlooked or erased by Mughals by destroying temples and burning the books that kept the records. But the folklore and a buoyant Pratap kept the memory of this great battle alive in the consciousness of Mewar. Records by Ranchod Bhatt, Veer Vinod, James Todd, and many contemporary historians of universities of Rajasthan established the veracity of events at Dewair. But as laymen for us, the biggest evidence of the successful campaign of Dewair lies in the fact that from Christian era 1583 to 1587, Pratap ruled Mewar uninterruptedly, and the so-called mighty Akbar and his imperial army never dared attack Mewar again till Pratap roamed the jungles and fields of Mewar. The shameless historians of this unfortunate nation have tried not only to erase but also belittle Pratap's glorious resistance to Akbar. They said that Pratap ruled freely because Akbar was busy in other campaigns around India. The truth is that all the plans of Akbar to subjugate Hindus completely were burnt in the pious fire of the rage and valor of Pratap and Kumar Amar Singh. To trivialize Pratap's victory, the pseudo-liberals invented a lie as petty as themselves. If Akbar was really busy elsewhere, then for 15 years, from Christian era 1568 to 1583, why did he destroy Chittor? Why did he send 4 peace proposals? Why did he organize 10 fully armed invasions of Mewar? Why did he spend millions of rupees and get thousands of his soldiers killed? The truth is that to the slaves of Islamic expansionism and the Hindu stooges, it was an issue of unbearable pain that alone Pratap didn't allow Mughals to breach Mewar. Because of one Pratap, Akbar's dream to Islamize the Hindu land remained just that, a dream. It is this pain and that torments the self-proclaimed intelligentsia of this besieged nation. To ease this pain, their crooked mind churns up new lies regularly to belittle Pratap's achievements. And yet, these lies could not erase the truth of Pratap. With the advent of internet, the truth of Pratap will be spoken from every Hindu home. It is the responsibility of every Hindu to take Pratap's story to the world, a story that this world will listen with amazement and utmost gratitude. After kicking out the last Mughal from Mewar, Pratap began amassing wealth and an army with the support of fellow Hindu kingdoms to have a decisive battle for Chittor and then Delhi before fate intervened. Pratap was injured in a hunting incident which eventually took him away from the glorious land of Mewar. But before the dissolution of his mortal body, Pratap redeemed the honor and prosperity of Mewar and passed on a kingdom to Amar Singh that had full coffers and a vibrant economy along with a strong military. Dewair was fought at a time when the Hindu Dewair was fought at a time when the Hindu resistance had been totally subdued by Akbar and his Hindu commanders. Should be written in golden words in Hindu history because it was from Dewair that Pratap regained lost territory and infused new blood into the diminishing morale of Mewar, Rajasthan, and the northern plains. The victory of Dewair and the scale of the destruction of the Mughal forces by Pratap sent the most unambiguous and penetrating message to invaders eyeing the land that Hindus would not yield their dharma through force or deceit. Dewair was indeed the decisive day in Mewar history that invigorated the Hindus to keep fighting against the forces of slavery and darkness till the last Hindu lives on this globe. As Dr. L.P. Mathur, eminent historian, writes in his book, the conquest of Dewair proved to be the turning point in the Mughal-Mewar conflict. The Battle of Marathon was fought in 1490 BC between invading Persian army and Greeks, in which Persians were crushingly defeated. Drawing comparisons between the Greco-Persian conflict with the Mughal-Mewar conflict, James Todd writes, "It is worthy of attention of those who influence the destinies of states in more favored climes to estimate the intensity of feeling which would arm this Prince Pratap to oppose the resources of a small principality against the then most powerful empire of the world, whose armies were more numerous and far more efficient than ever led by the Persians against the liberties of Greece. Undaunted heroism, inflexible fortitude, that which keeps honor bright, perseverance with fidelity no nation can boast, but the materials opposed to a soaring ambition, commanding talents, unlimited means, and the fervor of religious zeal, all, however, insufficient to contend with one unconquerable mind. There is not a pass in the Alpine Aravallis that is not sanctioned by some deed of Pratap, some brilliant victory, or oftener more glorious defeat. Haldi Ghati is the thermoplasy of Mewar, the fields of Dewair, her marathon. Pratap was the Mahapurush who single-handedly kept the flame of Hindu resistance burning at a time when there was no hope, not even a fair chance of revival of the fortunes of Mewar. If we are Hindus today, it is due to Pratap alone. Let Dewair be the Tirth every Hindu visits once in his lifetime to shed a tear of gratitude to to one of the bravest sons of Mewar, who staked everything to defend Hindu honor and dharma. Let Dewair be the symbol of the indomitable Hindu spirit that has fought Islamic invasions for 1400 years, and let us promise as Hindus of today with confidence that if need be, we will fight subjugation for another 1400 years as well. That alone would be a fitting tribute to Pratap. That alone would be our gratitude to the sacred valley of Dewair.
Wow.
बहुत बढ़िया सर.
Wow.
अच्छा, ये जेम्स टॉड लेकिन पढ़ा लिखा आदमी था सर.
हाँ.
कर्नल जेम्स टॉड, ही वाज वेल एजुकेटेड. ऐसा नहीं कि मतलब जैसे लोगों को बताया जाता ना, कोई भी सड़क चलते कोई अंग्रेज मतलब अफसर बनकर आ जाता था. नॉट ऑल ऑफ देम वर लाइक दैट.
Actually, he was believing whatever story was told. He was believing in seeing it himself.
Himself, फर्स्ट हैंड अकाउंट है एकदम.
हाँ. क्या सब आंसू आ जाते हैं, ऐसे लोग भी पैदा हुए.
जी सर. चले लिखने वाले भी थे तभी हम लोगों को पता चल रहा है ना, नहीं तो ये तो कहीं मिलता ही नहीं है ये सब.
Yes.
कम से कम इन लोग लिख कर गए तो हम लोग इंडिस्प्यूटेबली इसको पेश कर सकते हैं. विद नो डिस्प्यूट कैन बी रेज्ड, क्योंकि रेफरेंसेस सारा मौजूद है. एवरी चाइल्ड मस्ट नो दिस.
That's why I request all the viewers to please take it to every house और बच्चों को सुनाओ. एटलीस्ट कम से कम अगर हो सके तो किताब खरीद दो और रत्नों की किताब पढ़ने दो पब्लिक को. हिंदी में भी अवेलेबल है.
जी जी जी, अभी हिंदी में अवेलेबल है. जी.
क्योंकि हमें तो नहीं लगता जब तक यहाँ पर एक भी मुसलमान है तब तक यहाँ पर एनसीईआरटी के बुक्स को चेंज किया जाएगा. मुझे तो नहीं लगता, क्योंकि उनको महात्मा गांधी और इन लोगों को तो क्या बोलते हैं, जो मिडिल ईस्ट में जो बंदे हैं मुसलमान, उनको तो खुश करना ही है ना. तो कहाँ चेंज करेंगे. एटलीस्ट अपनी तरफ से जो हो सकता है, या तो इंटरनेट से प्रिंट आउट निकाल करके बता दो पब्लिक को, बच्चों को.
इसमें रेफरेंसेस है, इसमें तो रेफरेंसेस हैं. उन रेफरेंसेस को लेकर वो अपना लिख सकते हैं स्मॉल पैराग्राफ्स.
और क्या,
छोटे पैराग्राफ डाल सकते हैं ना हिस्ट्री बुक्स में, ताकि हम सबको सही हिस्ट्री पता चले, करेक्ट हिस्ट्री पता चले.
क्या वो हिरन में चला गया?
कब का चला गया सर? बहुत पहले चला गया.
क्या वो हिरन में चला गया? ओके,
कोई बात नहीं सर, हम लोग आपस में डिस्कस करते हैं.
चलो एक काम करते हैं, हम लोग इसको बंद कर देते हैं.
जी 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 जी.
Then we'll discuss for certain times and उसके बाद में फिर जो करना देखा जाएगा.
जी 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 जी.
तो दोस्तों, भाइयों, व्यूअर्स, आप लोगों से प्रार्थना है कि इस वीडियो को थोड़ा सा लाइक करें, शेयर करें, हमारे को मोटिवेट करें. आपका लाइक और शेयर हमारे लिए बहुत जरूरी है. हमको काफी इंस्पिरेशन मिलती है. और हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें. अगले वीडियो पाने के लिए हमारा जो बेल आइकन है उसको दबा दें. वैसे भी YouTube हमारे से लगता है नाराज हो रखा है, तो आप लोगों का अगर सहयोग मिलेगा तो YouTube की नाराजगी भी थोड़ा दूर हो जाएगी. और इसी क्या बोलते हैं, रिक्वेस्ट के साथ में, प्रार्थना के साथ में हम इस वीडियो को खत्म करते हैं. अगले वीडियो में हम महाराणा प्रताप के सुपुत्र, जिन्होंने वो 7 क्या बोलते हैं, वो भाला जो फेंका था और उसके पूरे शरीर को काट के, घोड़े के बदन को काटते काटते जमीन में हो गया था, उसके बारे में पढ़ेंगे. इस बीच में अगर कोई और डेवलपमेंट नहीं हुआ तो नेक्स्ट हमारा वीडियो उसी पे रहेगा. लेकिन मुझे लगता है कोई डेवलपमेंट होने वाला है, वो हम लोग बैक स्टेज में कर रहे हैं. ठीक है,
कल कुछ होने वाला है सर. डेवलपमेंट कल कुछ होने वाला है.
कल तो होने वाला है.
कल है पूरा.